apologies for yesterday. We had a little issue come up. It's crazy. That's what I'll be doing tonight. I'm right back here. You know what that is, Ben? Somebody said
no
that
idea.
K-Pro bought it back from the CooperCon.
Right.
That's one of the old reel-to-reels from back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
It's brand new, too. We have the reels, too, so I have to put it on there and make sure it works tonight. So apologies, everybody. We got a little crazy. I clicked a couple things, misclick on the computer. So anyway, Adam knows.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. First, allow Copper Dan in. He's in the backstage. So Mike said to me, you went to CooperCon. And I said, yeah. And he said, so I have something to tell you. And I said, okay. And I said, did you buy a storage unit? He goes, no, I bought 5. 5.
And they're all in the same place. So if you're going to get one and you're renting a U-Haul anyway, why not?
So that whole idea that nothing comes in the house, it's in. I tried to sleep in the guest room last night. I can't access it. I can't access my family room. It's all over the backyard. It's in the front yard. Hi, neighbors. Sorry, HOA violation. Yeah, I know. Nothing we can do. I still don't have my truck back. And now I do have to say this is the coolest because this was actually an executive moving company.
So this isn't a storage unit. This is a moving company where they crate up everything and ship it cross country. And these are the ones that weren't picked up or weren't paid on. So we got 5 crates is what we got. Yeah. So anyway,
and it is the coolest stuff, but there's so much. We can't walk around. We can't move. I spent all day just trying to,
But the most important part, is there anything good in it?
Oh, look. Yeah. There's some really, really cool. Well, look at that. Show them behind you.
Well, they can't. Yeah. There's a reel-to-reel. It's an old reel-to-reel player from Sony that looks brand new. And then there's a Montgomery Ward's record player right there. And then there's 2 boxes full of vinyl records, which I need to go through. But I saw some Beatles. I saw some. So I'm going to make a video on all this because I really need people.
That's cool.
Jackson 5, ABC.
And there's probably 30 boxes we haven't even opened yet, so we don't know.
I might, if that thing works, if you can restore it, if there's anything to it. I was just talking to Ashley about we should buy vinyl. Honestly, we should just play records, and she was into it. So I might buy that off you. Just FYI, keep that.
Well, this is the record player. You mean?
Yeah. All
maybe.
the records with it. I want the whole thing.
I got you. All right. And then we got some very cool Indian artwork, which I've got to look up the artist and see what's going on.
Wait. You know who the artist is? You know who these Indians? So I looked him up. He sells out of Santa Fe, and they're Taos Indians. What?
Let me grab it. That way we're giving people time to get in here anyway, because I know it's a different.
No, and I looked it up, and it's not cheap. We spent and then I find $100 bill. With some cigars.
$100 bill.
I'm going to be smoking a cigar later.
Here, you guys talk. I'll grab the one painting and I'll show them.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a really cool find. The hardest part right now is there's just so much. When Mike decided to bid on 5 of them, seeing if we could get at least 2 of them, and he got all 5. And that's the issue. It makes it go from fun to not fun because you can't even get around in the house. So but the artwork alone, one of them just had artwork in it, one of the crates. And the artwork I started looking up, it was I don't know what I said. A Native American.
Was there any Copper Dan artwork in there?
No one leaves that. People buy extra to make sure that they never leave Copper Dan. Okay, here we go.
Did you check the diatoms on the $100 bill you found?
Can you even see it?
Oh wow, that's gorgeous.
Isn't that cool?
You know, that almost looks like there was a Fenn purchased a bunch of oh God, what were they? It looked like this.
Crazy Horse, Chief Joseph, and I don't know who the other ones are. Isn't that cool?
That's super cool, man. Actually, that's dope. I like that a lot. I may buy that off you. I'm not sure.
Let's just have Ben over. You know what? Let's just go over okay. So
1981.
Oh, if you said 83, I would have bought it immediately.
Okay, so what are we here to talk about? That's the reason we didn't do the show last night. I actually was talking to Ben on the way. Usually we rent a 15-foot truck. We rented a 20-foot truck, and not everything fit. So we had a long night. I think we finished up to get the truck back last night at about 10:30. So our apologies for missing last night's show. Now, I know I am going to look for the DV Cooper money. No, it was I got to go see what year it was. Anyway, Sacagawea, there's some cool stuff. That's the most fun part is unpacking it for the first time. So let's stay on track though. Last we left you, we had put the baby to bed, 9 Mile Hole. That's all done. No controversy at all. We're all set. I mean, Copper Dan heard it from Jack. Cynthia heard it from Shiloh. It's done now. We're moving on.
What?
Just kidding.
All done.
A lot of you guys have been sending me messages like, I don't quite understand Alan and Ben, and there was this 5-hour show, and they went over some stuff, but I didn't get it all. Do you think they're affiliated? Do you think there's a tie between Forrest Fenn and DB Cooper? And if you do, can you just break it down to like ABC 1, 2, 3 kindergarten? So I talked to Ben yesterday and said, yes, let's do just the basics of why are we even talking about DB Cooper. But in the meantime, much like our World Series of Fenn, there is what's called a CooperCon.
Hey, their garage looks like ours right there.
Hey, do you got Christmas stuff up already, Ben?
Yeah, well, my parents do, yeah.
Oh, you're at your parents' house.
We're living the Christmas spirit.
I needed something to celebrate.
You want to say hi, Jill? You want to say hi to everybody?
No, I look like shit, but
Hey.
Hey, Mom.
Hey.
That would be my mom. Come on, buddy.
Okay, so what we decided to do is just do the basics. Hey, Alan, I see you in there. You have a link if you want to come in, because really, got to give Alan credit. He was the first that brought this to me. Actually, Forrest Fenn brought me a book by Stephanie from years ago. I never read it. I did hand it over to Alan just to see if it matched what was published, and it did. So I decided, kind of a last-minute whim, to go to CooperCon for the weekend. Thank you, Mike. But he did not have to worry about Sammy, because everybody wondered the she that I took. It was Sammy. She was, I believe, the youngest of all the Cooper Knights. They call it the Vortex, like we call it the Chase. These two groups are so similar. There were haters. There were people that loved DB. There was
Cooper
people
Knight.
that I don't know what they're called. Cooper fanatics. I don't know. And
anybody who attended Fenbury in their life doesn't get to say a word about Cooperites or anything.
yeah, so it was the 50th anniversary of DB Cooper jumping out of the plane. That actually, the date is tomorrow. Somebody's actually going to jump out of a plane tomorrow. So there is a group much like us that are this DB Cooper group. So what tonight was going to be about, or today, and I haven't had a date night forever with Mike, so that's later tonight. That's why we had to go on early. We wanted to just say here, the biggest thing for me was I just need to understand DB Cooper and what that means. I've heard the story. Some guy jumped out of a plane and the money never turned up, but how's that affiliated with Forrest? So I, of course, came up with a very short PowerPoint, 2 slides, that just gives you the basics. And then, Alan, if you want to come in, yep. And there he is. And Ben can give a lot more detail and I think Copper Dan just got his book. I don't know how up to date you guys are. I learned, it was like drinking out of a fire hose. I learned so much. I want to thank that community. I bought some people beers to get some conversations going. Ben kind of lined one up for me. Alan is already known in that community. 3D Bronze showed up out of nowhere. It was awesome. So it was just a really good time. But I at least feel like I know a little bit of what I'm talking about, or I'm at least able to say, I don't know that detail yet, but I've heard of whatever, like parachute selection or Tina Bar or any of that. I'm starting to know the lingo. I didn't understand their lingo at the beginning of the weekend. By the end, I did. So questions, guys, before we get started? And I know Copper Dan is giving away like $1 million tonight too, right?
The silent, yeah, sure.
I have a question. Probably the most. I'm sure there's questions, just about
There
DB
it
Cooper.
is.
Nice, that's beautiful.
Yeah, sorry.
My question is, I think you posted something on Facebook saying you spoke to Fenn extensively about DB Cooper, and I want to know exactly what that means and when that transpired.
Did I hit the breaking news button right now?
Me too. I haven't even asked you about this privately, K-Pro. I've been waiting for Alan to ask you.
Sorry, it's the first time she's asked me to ask her a question.
And we're live.
Okay. Let's take a step back, though. I will answer that question. I have it written down, but I feel like that's freshmen in college, and we still need I wasn't even a kindergartner when it came to DB Cooper, and I think a lot of people in the room are really excited about this this new potential investigation that we're going to do, but they don't even understand it. So can we take one step back, maybe just for fun? And I have that on my list. That will be my first answer.
Yep.
And I'm sorry if I'm ignoring the room tonight. You guys need to, I'm just trying to get up to date. So Mike, will you bring up the PowerPoint? And I just want to give, I want to do a shout out, a gentleman named Darren. He runs a podcast called The Vortex. And he basically does a podcast. He's no way he's over 30. He ran the MC of this entire conference, and he was so accommodating. And here's what he did in the first 5 minutes. He introduced DB Cooper and what it is. Oh, wait, take that down for a second, Mike. So basically, a guy named Dan Cooper, he got named DB Cooper later, walked onto a plane with very little security, because in the 70s you didn't have to have a lot of security, and I don't know dates in yet, I don't have those memorized. Got on a plane, handed the stewardess a note, said he had a bomb. He sat with a bomb, went up to Seattle. They took a fuel break, picked up $200,000 of bills, took everybody else off the plane except for the stewardess and the pilots. Then he was given 4 parachutes. He selected 1, actually 2 of them. No one really knows what happened after that, because the stewardess went to the flight where the pilot is and was locked away, opened the staircase, jumped out of the back of the plane somewhere. We don't know. There's some controversy about where. There's some controversy about the flight class. He's disappeared. The money's never been discovered. His body's never been discovered. There were some things left on the plane. The FBI has either destroyed them or lost them that had some DNA. And a little bit of the money showed up somewhere around Portland called Tina Bar. We don't know if that was planted or not. That's everything we know.
Can I throw in a senior level course comment on Tina Bar?
Yes.
One of the stewardesses' name is Tina Mucklow. And it would be very Forrest Fenn to go to Tina Bar, spelled differently, and plant the money there and lead the flaky bunch of idiots astray. That's senior level, 400 level.
Well, there's lots of affiliations that we'll talk about in weeks to come. But some of you might be going, yeah, I've heard of DB Cooper. Why does that matter? So now, before we jump into just a very short PowerPoint of why Forrest and why DB, I want to make a couple of ties that I think of. But is there any other nuts and bolts that I have forgotten? And there's a community that has been tracking this for the last 50 years. Some of them have only been in a year or two, and some have been in 20, 30 years. They meet up every year. They talk about it. Some people are starting to pass away because it's that timing. But there's expedition unknowns about this. There's
some factoids, and I think Alan probably has a couple of them. The first I would say is whoever DB Cooper was wrote his name as Dan Cooper on his airline ticket that he purchased for $20. Well, he gave $20. He told him to keep the change. So first things first, his name isn't DB Cooper, it's Dan Cooper.
And there is controversy whether he wrote it or the person at the airport wrote it.
Correct.
And there was a whole thing about that. Yeah.
I would again, not to get into deep right away, I would rely on anybody who purchased tickets in the 70s to tell me how it went down back then. I don't know.
The gentleman that went just after him in line actually said during the conference, I did not write my name. They wrote my name. And so that was an interesting twist, because the people at the flight time, they were actually saying, so there's a little bit of controversy.
Yeah, they tried to look into the handwriting. So, okay.
Right.
So Dan Cooper is one. Alan, what would be your one that you would?
It's not even one. I was going to give like a 30-second what Capro said, but give like a tiny little outline.
Yeah,
so one, just I think it might be on your next slide, so I'm not trying to jump the gun there, which just does Forrest fit the basic descriptions of any eyewitness of DB Cooper? And I would say yes. Maybe you'll get there later as far as height, size. But not only did DB Cooper hijack the plane, he told the pilot exactly what flight path to fly. He knew where every Air Force base and airport was along the flight path. He told them what altitude to fly. And he's the one that told them to open the aft stair, the back staircase, during the flight, at which time the pilot didn't even know if that airplane was capable of doing so. So I just want to throw in the flavor that DB Cooper wasn't just some knucklehead and jumped out of a plane. He knew more about the plane.
He did tell him a flight path because
there's
that's
an argument
new to me because the documentary I watched, and I'm not questioning you. It's just that because there's lots of different opinions out there.
Let's remove the flight path
came out.
We could have a whole show on the flight path. That he said, this was actually one of the talks, that he said that you have to be under 10,000 feet only takes you to 2 flight paths, which is 23 or I want to say 75. 75 takes you to Sacramento to refuel, and he refused it. So by default, he picked the flight path going through down to Reno because of the under 10,000 feet. He did not say go to
It was Mexico. His original endpoint was Mexico.
His original endpoint was Mexico City, and if you read whoever is portraying themselves as DB Cooper is adamant that they say I chose the Reno flight path.
Yeah. Okay. So let's bring up the slide, and then we can jump into because just to get everybody kind of up to date on what we're talking about and why is Forrest Fenn even a part of this. So, Mike, PowerPoint, please. There's only 2 slides. Promise it's not going to be too long. Okay, so we have Forrest Fenn chasers on the left. We really have, I think, 3 quests or buckets that are still unknown or maybe known to some people. The first is the solution final location. The second is the ending or nudge gate, or did Jack really find it? And then the treasure chest, the sail the treasure chest, and chase 2.0. So I think right now the 3 buckets of discussion, really everything that we're discussing is one of those 3. Do you guys agree? Unanimously, I say yes. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, is Forrest related to could be an item, but yeah, it's the same thing.
Well, no, that's in the middle. Okay, so we have pure chasers in the blue. They are Forrest Fenners, and that's it. Then we have what's called the Vortex, and that's the green on the right. And that's DB Cooper people. And there's a lot of discussion. It was almost parallel. There was one gentleman going, why does anybody care about the money? We need to figure out who DB is. And it's a bigger question. I just thought, oh my gosh, that's like someone in our community saying, hey, is it about the treasure chest or is it about the chase? It's like similar discussions. As 3D and I were sitting there and everybody was talking, we're like, ooh, that's Ben. Ooh, that's it. It was just funny. Okay, so then the green on the right. The green on the right are DBers or the Vortex people. They say you're in the Vortex. There is DB Cooper identity. Who is it? He had a grudge against the government. There was some cigarettes he smoked. What drinks did he give? He had I think it was a bourbon on the plane. He selected certain parachutes, exactly what Alan was talking about. He had this tie on. He left the tie. There's one basis of discussion in the Vortex. The second basis of discussion is, I don't care who DB is. I want that $200,000, and I am looking for it. I'm doing digs. I am all about the money, the money, the money. There are serial numbers for the money. That's the second set of discussion. Then the third is all of, I'm just going to call it the mysteries. And these touch both of the others, but the FBI investigation, why did they destroy or did they destroy the cigarette butts? Why did they get rid of the hairs? Why did Forrest put hairs in this? I'll get to that in a second. Confessions, there was at least 7 people that said they had deathbed confessions of their loved ones. That was a whole panel. It's almost like I am the solver. The evidence, all the other evidence, there's 50,000 pages of FBI files. Mike, I need you to put that down. Okay. Did he survive? That was a huge one. The flight path, that's a huge one. The drop location, whatever the path was. Those are all discussions that are happening in the Vortex at this conference every day on Eric Eulich. Facebook is fantastic. And then Holly already put Darren's podcast. So we have the Forrest Fenners in the blue. We have the Vortex in the green. Why are we even talking about this? And this is where we come in to Ben and Alan, really for me, started this in the middle. I think the first is Forrest affiliated to DB? And then the second is this book. We really have 2 main buckets being discussed. And I think we need to tease those apart and discuss those. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys to talk about really, really high level. Like some people say Forrest Fenn being DB, that's preposterous. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't think it's him, but I think there's an affiliation just because of some of the evidence. So let's talk about how Forrest Fenn and what's ha ha ha, and then bring that together.
Let me start because one, I'm not sure how long I can stay tonight. I'll stay as long as I can. But let me just start and I'll like give a 1 minute on how I got here. So I said this in a couple shows after the chase ended, like when it was posted by Forrest that Jack, the chest was found. It just didn't feel right, and so I kept looking for things that maybe would make a bender ending. And I understand this confirmation bias, but it's basically this can't be the ending. There has to be something else out there. So I started looking into stuff, and I don't remember what blog I saw it on. It might have been Stephanie's. It might have been Reddit. I don't remember. But someone made the connection for Forrest Fenn and DB Cooper. So that got the fire started in my head. And for like a couple of weeks, I was looking on Amazon for everything. I was watching every documentary. And eventually I stumbled across a book, Ha Ha Ha, by DB Cooper. But what caught my eye was it was a $200,000 treasure hunting book with 7 clues in it. And so I'm like, that's interesting. Someone was just saying Forrest Fenn might be DB Cooper. I found this book from 1983 with 7 clues, $200,000. I'm just going to buy it anyway because it sounds fun. Within minutes of reading the book, I found the phrases, the thrill of the chase, and a few thrills and a few chase scenes within the book. And so, long story short, I've been stuck in the vortex of Forrest and DB Cooper ever since. And there's a lot more in the book besides those 2 phrases. It's right. 300, yeah.
Yeah, so you're already in the vortex because when I was at the conference and a couple of people were like, K-Pro, and it was funny because they were chasers. And then a couple of people came over and they're like, do you know Alan Kelly? Because he's been in the vortex a while. I'm like, yes, I do. So you're the one kind of bridging together. Ben, do you have additional comments?
So I was a DB Cooper fan since I was a little kid. I saw DB Cooper on Unsolved Mysteries back when I was like 6 or 7 or 8 years old. So I've been to DB Cooper my whole life. You guys know my whole Forrest Fenn saga. I started to think that there was an affiliation to Ha 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 once I was finally given access to Ha Ha Ha. I had read the threads in the past that could Forrest be DB Cooper, and I got a kick out of it. I laughed at it. I was like, oh, that would be swell. And I read some posts, I read some threads, and I saw possible motivation and possible areas where there's overlapping in terms of time frames, but that's it. Once Alan sent me Ha 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 in the mail, and I was allowed to read it, 2 pages into it, and I go into everything going, I want to disprove this. 2 pages into it, I went, this book is written by Forrest Fenn. And I hadn't even gotten to I got lost in the thrill of the chase thing. It was that started to get me on this track. So do I think Forrest Fenn is DB Cooper? I don't know.
Yeah.
Neither does the FBI. Neither does anybody else in the community. The FBI went through over 1,000 suspects and got rid of all of them. I've heard every name in the book thrown out on Facebook lately, and every single one of them has been discredited. I don't know who DB Cooper is, and that's the point. I think Forrest is related to Ha 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 through all of the similarities, whether it be lines in the book, numbers that we've gone over. There's a lot of connections that we find in the scrapbooks that connect to the story of Ha Ha Ha. I'm in the boat where Forrest Fenn absolutely wrote Ha 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 as a secret treasure hunting book, either as a test for the thrill of the chase or an epilogue / prologue. It's both. It came before and it comes after. That's to me is the true answer to the double omegas. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. So Copper Dan, we'll ask where everybody's at with everything, but is there any other pieces? What got you intrigued? You paid like $300,000 for your Ha 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 book. So,
I know, right? Well, so I was kind of hoping was my book originally owned by you, and then it went to Kelly or to Alan, and then it went to Candy, and then to me?
No.
Probably not.
No. Okay. I didn't own my book until I hit a little bookstore for $30 this weekend and got mine.
Ha ha ha.
Damn it. Ha ha ha. It helped make a whole bunch of Forrest's little quotes and sayings start to make sense. It doesn't matter who you are. It only matters who people think you are. I prayed for D's. I lost 22 pounds and didn't even know it. I mean, I could go on. There's this, how did those sayings ever apply to anything in the chase?
Bingo.
Yep. So
to find the treasure chest.
Mike, bring back up the PowerPoint, because you're exactly right. That's actually the affiliations I wanted to make. Is one, DB Cooper, how that's affiliated with Forrest is that top bubble. And is he known, or Douglas Preston, Shiloh, what Shiloh's not answering? And then the second is this Ha 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 book. This Ha 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 book has so many things that are affiliated. If you go through the scrapbooks and you go through the comments, exactly what you're saying, Copper Dan, that's the reason that I stopped and went, wait a minute. There's like, he prayed for D's and the one parachute didn't have D rings. Wait a minute. Thrill of the Chase, and Thrill of the Chase is in the Ha 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 book. So, but there's two different things here. Is DB Cooper affiliated with Forrest, or no Forrest, or is Forrest? That's one. And then this Ha 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 book. Is it legitimate? Isn't it? Is there $200,000 out there? It's based on DB Cooper, but we don't believe it was written by DB Cooper, or it could have been. But Mike, go to the next slide, because I want to get kind of where we're at as a starting.
I was going to say, hold on, before we get there, there's a couple frames of thought one needs to have. Did Forrest Fenn write Ha Ha Ha? Does that make him DB Cooper? Or does that make him someone who knew DB Cooper? Or does that make him someone who's just a fan of DB Cooper? Then once you actually read Ha Ha Ha, then you have to decide, are the details in this book from someone who could only have been there, and therefore it's either the DB Cooper himself, or it's someone who spoke with DB Cooper and knows DB Cooper? Because then the whole I've just made up a narrative goes out the window if you're telling me exact specific details in this book that nobody else has. Now, the DB Cooper community laughs this book off, but if you ask every single one of them why they laugh it off, you get a answer, and then follow-up question is, how much of the book have you read? A few pages. There's 328 pages written by DB Cooper. I would suggest reading more.
It is. I will tell you, I asked many people about the Ha 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 book. 50% of them never had heard of it. The 50% that did, not one at the conference I could get any traction with any discussion at all, which was that's what's going to take, though, to solve the DB Cooper case, is something that the people that are inside the Vortex, I think, for years and years and years, it might not be this Ha 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 book, but they're in confirmation bias mode. They have always think that it's on Tina Bar, and I'm never going to think differently. And that's where I think it's interesting bringing these worlds together.
We are the Jack Stoof of the DB Cooper world, possibly.
What were you going to say, Copper Dan?
Forrest may not be DB Cooper, but he sure the heck had something to do with Ha Ha Ha. Would you agree with that, Ben?
Interesting.
Okay, so let's bring up the slide, and I'm going to replace Mike's name with Copper Dan's name, because now that I've made the PowerPoint, so let's start at the beginning. Next one.
Sorry.
You're actually going to have to type, so you're going to have to put it.
Is this being recorded? Is this Zoom meeting being recorded?
No, it's not a Zoom meeting. We're on stream. Yeah, are we live? I just want to get kind of a baseline of where we're at, because people in the chat are saying I need to catch up, I need to understand more, and that's what we're going to be doing. Is this? At least for this channel, we are going to give updates on Forrest Fenn, the chase, when it comes up. But so, Alan, let's start with, is Forrest DB, yes or no? And how confident are you of your answer? Jeez. And then the next is he affiliated? Maybe it was Skippy, maybe he just knew him, that sort of thing. And then we'll go down Alan, Ben, me, and then
I mean, you want my real life answers? Like, if you have a gun to my head, I'm going to say 0% chance that any of this is real. But what does my heart and soul tell me, and why I've spent 1.5 years and like invested in this? I'll give you those percentages, knowing that this is just
let's
fun.
Make it more fun. Yeah, this is a hobby, fun.
I'm going to say 25% confident that Force is actually DB, and then I'll raise it up to 50% that if he wasn't DB, he knew DB.
Okay,
and
so
then,
yes there.
Yes, it's going to be yeses all the way across.
Okay, God, I'm having a hard time seeing Forrest. Yeah. Did Forrest write it? Did he assist in writing it?
Okay, I'm going to say wrote. associated new DB because those are separate. Wrote ha
Yeah,
ha.
like did he write it? How sure
I'll
are
say
you
50%.
that he wrote it?
Yeah, and that includes, if he hired an editor, or whatever. And then
Or
assisted with, I'll say 75%.
Okay.
If you see where my math is going here.
Yeah. And then is ha 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 a legit treasure hunt?
I mean, I'm going boots on the ground, so I'm hoping, but it's freaking a coin toss. Based on everything I know, it's a coin toss, though.
So 50-50 or 100, or it has to be more than 50, right?
I'm going to say 70%.
Hey, okay, Jack Stoof said you could never, ever be more than 20% sure when you go boots on the ground.
It's the same question.
Don't be swayed, Alan. Don't be swayed.
It's the same question, though, like, are all the secret casks still out there? You're like, could have been bulldozed. It could have been removed.
You're thinking, wait, there's not a test later. You don't get a degree for this. We're just having fun.
Well, Shiloh watching. I want to do good for Shiloh.
Hi, Shiloh. Okay, Ben, you're up.
Okay, so Forrest is DB. I would put that at 25%.
He's cheating off my paper now, K-Pro.
I know.
You guys are a lot lower than I thought you would be on that question. I really
Forrest is. I know, well, because people mistake enthusiasm for
wait
belief.
for ha ha ha. He's going to be so enthusiastic, he's going to jump out of the screen.
Forrest is associated / new DB. I would put that at 50%. Forrest, I see.
He's cursing here. He's muted and he's cursing.
Forrest wrote ha ha ha. I would put at 75% yes. Forrest assisted with ha ha ha. I would put that at the equal 75% yes. Ha 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 is legit. What constitutes legit? For me,
like there's $200,000 to find.
Well, how about this? What constitutes legit to me is there's 7 clues in the book and they lead you to a precise spot. I believe that's legit.
Okay.
So I would say 100% yes.
Oh my god. Okay, that's not how I intended that question.
So you think legit with money at the end of it? I don't know if the money, like legit from the moment it was done in 1983 or legit now. I just don't know. I don't know.
It's a certificate
anyway.
Then
how can it be 100%? I don't know.
I'm 100% because I believe that the 7 clues were intentionally.
Do you believe that there is a certificate at the end?
At some point, yes. Maybe
at some point it was intended to be there. Yes.
Okay. That's kind of a weird question now. Okay, so for me, is Forrest DB, I'm going to put 50-50. No, I can't go higher than you guys. Well, because I'm like 50. It's seriously a coin toss. But is Forrest affiliated with this in some way? I am 75% on the second one.
Oh, wow.
Forrest wrote ha ha ha. I'm going to be 50-50 there. But is he affiliated with it? I'm 90%.
See, if you would have went first, I would have been hundreds across the board then.
I was going to say, I'm ready to go up to 90 as well.
I'm 50-50 on the last one just due to some of the, I don't know. There's some shenanigans going on. And I mean, is there like a treasure? Not like, there's, here, go find this rock. I don't want the rock. Like $200,000, the certificate, whatever.
What if there's a jar there?
Oh, that's something more than no, there's nothing there at all.
Right.
No. Yeah. Okay. Kind of like some of the people that say, why were you ever looking for a treasure chest in the chase? It was about the journey. That's nice. No, if there wasn't a treasure chest, I think that's a scam, not legit.
That's a scam. Right. That's fair enough.
So it's kind of that's the scam question. Okay. Copper Dan, what do you think?
So do I want Forrest Fenn to be DB Cooper? Yeah. But do I think he really could have himself pulled it off? Would he have done it? Would the Forrest that we know 50 years ago, what was Forrest like? So I'm going to go somewhere and be, fuck no. Hey, don't put, I'm going to go right in, I'm going to go 35% yes. I'm going to be.
Hey, can I ask you a clarifying question? You can keep your answer between would he have done it and could he have done it? Do you think he could have done it?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I think he absolutely. He would have been fresh out of Vietnam, and with all of his jungle training, I think. I think if you read My War for Me, there's some stuff in there too, or maybe he was talking about this. Forrest associated with DB. I'm gonna go. I got to go at least as high as K-Pro at 75%.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm going to be up with Ben at 75. It just
I haven't read it yet, so
it reads. It really does read like the thrill of the chase. Forrest assisted. Well, then, yeah, that has to be it. That's the same question, isn't it?
Well, one, did he write it, or does he know who wrote it? Kind of thing. This one is.
Yeah, keep it. Yeah, I'm happy with that, Mike. And then I haven't thought about this before. Is real legit? I'm gonna kind of be with K-Pro right in the middle. I'm unsure. 50%.
Okay, now Mike, add 2 columns because I want your answers here since you're the voice of reason.
I'm not going to add them because I've only read the first 2 chapters of and that's all I got to go on. I mean, I haven't really got into it like you guys have. So once I read the book, maybe then I could give an opinion.
Oh, whatever.
But did anybody notice in one of the first couple of chapters, there's one word that's bold on the entire page?
He does that. Yeah, there's a.
Is that a clue? Is that part of the treasure hunt or no? Because that's what I thought. I'm like, maybe that's got something, but I haven't read enough to know what's going on.
I think there's a dozen or so of those bolded words and weird italicized words.
Put them together. Maybe. Okay. I noticed off the bat. That's all I've noticed so far.
Is there 9 of them?
I have every bolded word written down, and I can't make heads or tails of any of the bolded words yet.
Well, it does have try the wheel, and that's kind of weird.
On that car that he picked up, maybe there's a wheel. Yeah, that would be something. Yeah, it's interesting. It's fun to talk about. I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't have enough information to make an opinion yet. So.
Well, Mike, I would ask you this: in the first 2 chapters, it's impossible to say does it read like somebody, but let me ask you.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the preconceived notion of Forrest Fenn. I know you can't see me right now.
Right.
Does it read like Forrest Fenn in the first 2 chapters? I mean, do you hear the voice of Forrest Fenn, or are you going, no, you guys are nuts?
Well, the problem is the guy in the book, in the book's a total scam artist. He's just like, I'm going to do whatever I can to get the money that I want, right? So,
okay, so hold on. I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
But if it's Forrest Fenn, or somebody as if DB Cooper, they're going to give you a narrative that helps tell a story. That doesn't necessarily make the narrative true. So if you're hearing things like this guy's a scoundrel and a criminal, he might be telling allegories. Could hypothetically saying that you're a criminal and be an admission of guilt because you're hypothetically robbing graves?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Forrest kind of did what he had to do. Forrest kind of did what he wanted to do, and I don't think he cared about the rules so much. So that fits
exactly.
I'll give one spoiler. He is a con. I don't know if he's a con artist. He's definitely a thief at the beginning, and in the story, he's robbing cabins and small homes to sell small items. And we know that Forrest did similar robbing, but not of homes and cabins.
No, yes, he did. No, that's exactly what he did. He robbed homes of people who lived 1,000 years before.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my metaphor there. So
when Forrest says it's not who you are, it's who they think you are.
And he also stole the brass off the sprinkler heads. So.
That's right.
What struck me is in the thrill of the chase when is it J.D. Salinger, the book that he goes, and then I realized this book is all about me. Could that be some kind of a metaphor for really the DB Cooper story where he's this other story is all about me too. You guys just got to
Mike, do you know the main character of that book, Holden Caulfield?
Right. No, I've never really read it, but
okay. Well, Holden Caulfield's older brother's name is DB.
Yep. DB is that right?
Yep. So wait, the biggest one is when you find the certificate, you're supposed to mail it to P.O. Box 687 in Washington, and the dude is P.O. Box 687 in West Yellowstone. So there's some there's some things. They're still circumstantial. There's no smoking gun yet. I think there's some guns that are beginning to smoke in some ways because now more people, and that's the reason I wanted to do this show is just to kick off. There's a lot of scratching heads. Wait a second. There's a lot, and it took, and I'm going to say it took Alan a year to get books, give them to people, get conversations started. And I know that Stephanie and Mindy's book has been out there for years and it didn't get the traction. I feel like now is the right time, because I also do believe Forrest needed to pass away before some things got triggered related to the bigger story that Forrest talked about. Could it be DB? I think it's our best lead at this point to definitely at least explore. And that's why I'd like to do that. But go ahead.
Can I make
and let me
just
ask
one
you
comment? Oh, go ahead.
Let me ask
Go ahead.
everybody real quick. Sorry. But what's the secret story in the treasure chest? If it's not DB Cooper, that's fine. But it's got to be something big. So for us to investigate something big is not atrocious or against the rules, and it doesn't cross a red line when Shiloh Old, decides to ignore, reject, and point out that he didn't answer the DB Cooper question in a series of questions where he was answering everything. So I'm allowed to question this now. Shiloh gave me the green light through talking to you, K-Pro.
Forrest did say there's a story here.
He did.
What? Where? When?
Right.
Because right now, 9 Mile Hole isn't some huge story. If Forrest is DB Cooper, let's just say, I'm going to go the extreme, I don't believe yet because I haven't seen the evidence. If Forrest is DB, and in that autobiography, it tells you where to get the $200,000, and here's my hair follicles, because the FBI used to have his hair follicles, and you could match them. What a story. That would be, he would hit the right. It wouldn't be like his father. He died and, it wasn't anywhere. He would make history for, this is the only hijack aircraft that has not been solved in the history of aircraft. I mean, they went into how unique this story was. That's why I appreciated going to CooperCon.
It's hard to believe after all these years that they wouldn't have found a parachute.
Right.
I mean, I realize that
we have an explanation for that. He got rid of the parachute. JK says Shiloh was messing with you.
And it could be. Definitely could be. That's the thing. Right now, I'm not 100% on anything. I mean, GPS, for goodness sakes. So I am not going to say I'm 100%. I'm saying, just like Tumble Bear Load at the beginning, it could have been a scam. I got excited about it. This, I'm getting excited about. I don't even know if there's anything at the end of the Ha 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 book. That's not where I'm starting. I gave Mike the Ha 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 book and said, I want to start to understand DB Cooper to then start bringing these. Like they said at the beginning, they said, did you know that DB Cooper had a grudge against the government? And I'm like, Forrest, like there were so many affiliations. That doesn't mean it's so, but it's going to take some people really.
K-Pro, maybe the answers are in the olive jar, and we do need to buy the treasure chest. So you want to mortgage your house?
No, I've heard that baby's already in bed. Sorry, it's already being sold.
It is being sold? That's breaking news to me. I thought it wasn't being sold.
No, we were told. No, I thought Cynthia said that in her video. Please, God, tell me Cynthia said that in her video.
What's being sold?
No,
the treasure chest is being sold.
No, she never said that.
Okay, we'll circle back to that later. But yes, would it be? Could it be in that autobiography? The family would know it then, because the family has copies of the DB Cooper book. Okay, so I'm going to now circle back to Alan's first question. I had discussion with Forrest Fenn extensively. I told you a little bit, Ben. The extensive conversations I had
for the first time anywhere. Here we go.
No, there's not a big there. It was in relation to why Forrest was being supportive of Stephanie and Mindy writing a book about DB Cooper after some of the history they had. And we talked extensively. Like, he sent me the book and I'm like, why are you associating yourself again? Because you've already been in a very hard situation. And he explained, and we went back and forth in some pretty specific detail of why. I don't mind sharing that privately, but I don't want to get back into who said what at that time. Why wouldn't Forrest affiliate with them? And now they're saying something. I don't want to go back there. But that was the extensive discussion was. And then, of course, I said, then, well, like, is there truth to this? And he's like, read the book. And like, he said something like, pay attention to the details or something. And I'm like, that's why I sent it to, I think to you directly, Alan, maybe it was through Ben. I thought maybe there were differences in what he sent me and what was published, but it looks like it's the same book. I did not read that book.
So to clarify, Forrest did not deny being DB Cooper in your emails back and forth, or did he?
I need to go back and look. I need to go back.
Hey, Mike.
I doubt you asked, right?
Throw on Lucky Digger's comment. Mentioning DB Cooper and Forrest Fenn in the same breath is so disrespectful. Lucky Digger, once again, I implore you to bring that problem that you have to Shiloh. He was given the opportunity to end this. If it was disrespectful, then you think Shiloh would have said, no, that's crazy, K-Pro. Why are you asking if my father was a sky pirate? Did I say sky pirate? Because that's what he was.
Wait, can I ask why? Like, why is that disrespectful to say DB? And
I'll play devil's advocate, and I'll say, because you're saying Forrest Fenn's a criminal. It's not like we're comparing him to the Zodiac killer, and there's a murder involved here. If Forrest Fenn was DB Cooper, and that's where he got his money, some people may say, how is that different than some of the artwork that he sold? That possibly he has Sitting Bull's peace pipe that wasn't given to him, I don't think. So I think a lot of people will say there's parallels between maybe do something a little shady, a little bit on the line of legalities. There was FBI raid, etc. So I don't think it's that much of a stretch to say, is it possible?
He wasn't a saint.
That Forrest Fenn, right? He was not a saint, that's for sure.
And
now, we're not saying Zodiac killer. We're not saying something crazy like that. We're not saying some of the things that have been said in the past. We're just saying, hey, there's these weird coincidences that DB Cooper and Forrest Fenn where they match up. So let's talk about, is it a possibility? That's
Forrest Fenn is the person who said, "Don't believe anything or everything I say. I'm going to embellish or lie 15% of the time, and there's a secret story in my treasure chest."
Well, wait. Now I want to say something related to CooperCon. 100, 200 people were sitting in this room talking about who's DB and he got the government's money and this and that. One of the speakers, the last speaker on the first day, was the pilot's daughter, who was 16 years old when it happened. It shook her mother, who was like worried on the phone. Are you going to is my husband going to survive this? And one of the passengers said that who was another speaker, said, I had nightmares about almost dying after the fact. Sure. And so it really brought a grounded perspective, much like, some people in the hunt right now, they hate Forrest. They call him a lot of things. They make some pretty bold accusations. Everybody in the community doesn't need to agree, because the woman was like, and I got to spend a lot of time with her at the social because everybody was talking conspiracy and I wasn't into that. So I went and sat with her. And she was so nice, and she just said, I have a different perspective than anyone else. So
right. I don't. By the way, there's a different perspective on Forrest with San Lazaro. I hate to, but what he did in San Lazaro. Did I freeze up? Oh.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now you're back.
Sorry. What he did with excavations pissed off a lot of Native Americans, guys.
Mm-hmm. Made
them very sad.
There are some people that could say that Forrest stole from Indians, and if you believe that, then why not steal from this airline? That's all.
No, he didn't even steal from the airline. He stole from the United States government.
True. Yeah.
And in Ha Ha Ha, the character of DB Cooper, as written, complains about how he can't live off $10,000 a year. And what did Forrest make? $10,000 a year.
12.
Well,
nope, I double checked it. I triple checked it. He says specifically $800 a month. That's $10,000 a year.
And there was discussion about, was DB Cooper going to kill someone? He didn't. He took the bomb with him to make sure that didn't
happen,
no
bomb.
etc.
There's no. It was a fake
there's a controversy about that too.
They don't know anything about it.
You have to believe Ha Ha Ha, written by Forrest Fenn, to believe it's a fake bomb.
Well,
the DB Cooper acolytes will say.
I'm just saying in general, I don't see exactly what Mike said. I don't see DB Cooper as a murderer. I think he did some things on the edge, and I think that there definitely was some illegal things that happened. But I don't. If we're saying that, could Forrest Fenn be a hijacker, and that's disparaging for his name to say that he could have been a hijacker. With
hijacker, sky pirate. That was the official charge was sky pirate.
Yeah, if I don't see that with all the things Forrest did as awful or a disgrace to his family, etc. He wouldn't have been okay with the book. He would have come out to say he wasn't okay with the book. Shiloh wouldn't have answered it. So I'm kind of with you. I understand the point. I just don't think it's a disgrace.
Very good.
So, William, for first, Mary Green, I believe it was, asked, did K-Pro go to the DB Cooper convention? Yes, she did. K-Pro was there, everybody. He met 3D Bronze. All right, William with the Super Chat says, if anyone can explain how an Air Force pilot in the 70s making 12 grand a year, Ben says it's now 10 grand, 10 grand a year start an art gallery, I would like to know.
Yeah, and I've heard people say like he made it, casting and selling bronzes. He was stealing the bronze from a local community college to make those bronzes.
Guys, he didn't make. I made $180,000 working out of my garage in 1971. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't make $1.9 million stealing bronze sprinkler heads. Sorry, not the truth.
But what do you really think, Ben?
Adam says, I heard Peggy's family was rich. Where'd you hear that from, Adam? That's interesting.
I think that's true. But in general, and these are all circumstantial evidence. I think it's going to take something to really tie it all together that really takes things to kind of a whole different level. This is for me, it's fun to start to get to know an independent investigative project. The Vortex, it's just like the Chase, but in a different way. It is interesting to start to explore. So there's two different things to explore. One is just the DB Cooper scenario, and the second is Ha 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 and Forrest. So there's really two levels of like kind of how far into the Vortex, and now we need to rename it. It's not the Chase, it's not the Vortex, it's something in between. So
it's the DB Cooper caper as it's described in Ha Ha Ha. Where have I heard caper before?
This is so clear here in Ben's head.
There's so many similarities. It's just spooky.
So I think somebody needs to do a PowerPoint on the actual similarities in the Ha Ha book. In other words, the phrases or terminology where you go.
We only knew somebody that could do a PowerPoint.
Alan did a much better PowerPoint. I will just say, I would request one of two things: either for you to redo that PowerPoint on a short presentation or on our show. The hardest part, I think you did a phenomenal job. I stayed up for maybe 3 or 4 hours trying, because there was so much discussion and all of that. I got lost. I now know what you guys mean when we go 3 or 4 or 5 hours. So there was so much good information, and I think some new good information has come to light. I think that's where, and we need to get some synergy off of the Vortex. Those people, they just got access to the tie. They met with that government in Washington, D.C. They have a level of information as well that we could leverage off of. Because here was something that was said during the discussion, one of the presentations, is one of the transcripts was cut because they actually said in the transcript, but they cut it out of the audio of the air traffic control. This is our buddy that got drunk before or just got arrested for being drunk and disorderly. It was like, they obviously knew who it was then. So there's like there's a couple things to kind of unfold.
I like Dizzy Dean's comment. Can we pull that up? Ladies and gentlemen, when your p-value is less than or equal to your significance level, you reject the null hypothesis. The data favors alternative hypotheses. I agree.
Your p-value, what does that mean?
Something to do with statistics class. I failed.
Yeah, right.
I was playing for D's in statistics class, that's for sure. I'm trying to find a battery or a plug-in. I might get disconnected from you guys, but
I was going to say, I agree with you. I think that first crack at it, I mean, the PowerPoint itself was an hour, but then yes, because of the PowerPoint, there's 4 million questions. So yeah, it lasted 5.5 hours. So I can't even go back and watch that again. So I agree with you. That needs to be shortened.
Yeah, agreed.
For sure. And maybe Ben will, stay awake and upright the whole time.
I was awake. The whole time.
He was
Cracker Jack with this breaking news super chat. The best part about this is that Copper Dan wrote in the note inside of the chest for the Trolls cache who DB Cooper was. CooperDan.com.
CooperDan.com. Don't be picking on my dad now. Didn't you guys notice that it's only There's only one letter bit difference between Cooper Dan and Copper Dan.
If anybody knew where the Trolls Cache was, it's crazy.
It's obviously near Reno, Nevada.
Yeah, nice. Dan's not saying.
Okay, so
Dan
at this point,
sorry you broke up.
Yeah. Hey.
Okay, so Copper Dan, since we're nearing the hour mark, you have you're giving away $1 million. What are you giving away?
Well, it could be worth $1 million someday. But
what are you giving away? What do you want to say here?
Did you see, Dan, that I showed your map in my video?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mike.
I blurred it out.
Yeah. Oh, did you really? Oh,
you haven't watched it? Yeah,
I saw you flash it. I'm like, Mike, come on, you gotta know this.
I did it, and then when I edited, I thought, you know what? Somebody could freeze frame it and zoom in, so I blurred it out. So if you watch the video,
before you get into it, I'll just say goodbye now. I assume you guys aren't going to be on for too much longer, right? Or are you going to be on longer?
No, maybe 5-10 minutes.
No. Let me just sign off now because I'm going to get disconnected. I just want to say goodbye to everybody. Copper Dan, love you. Alan, love you. Nico, love
Thanks
you.
for coming on, Ben.
Bye, man. Take care.
Guys. Chat, love you.
Have a good Thanksgiving if we don't talk to you again.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. You too. Be thankful for everybody and everything in your family.
That's it.
Yep. Peace out.
Bye. Okay.
He's gone.
Copper Dan, lay it on us.
All right. In case you guys haven't heard, I have a treasure hunt called the Trolls Cache, and I have a map and a coin associated with it. Well, I took the maps and I sent them in, and I got the maps made into posters. They're 18 by 23. So tonight,
I can't show the other side, everybody.
No, you can't show the other side. So here is the here's the 3D ones. So I'm going to give a 3D coin away with with a full size poster. Pretty much that's an entry into the hunt, and also you got a kick-ass size map.
Okay. You doing comment picker? How are we doing it?
Yeah. Well,
from that video, right? Before?
You know what? We should have did this at the beginning so they could have commented on the video and then we could have picked it. So maybe we'll just say comment on this video tonight and we'll do this in a couple of days or a week.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Dizzy Dean. It's up to you, Dan, however you want to do it. Or pick one of your other video, however you want to do it. We can do it.
Well, I want to give everybody.
It's been a triumph, Adam says. A triumph, for God's sakes.
That's a pretty big compliment.
It is pretty good. Everyone's loving it, Adam says. I definitely got to do a Zoom on it. I'm thinking that over the weekend we're going to put some heads together, figure this thing out, Dan.
I know. It just keeps trickling on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your lovely wife already owes me $75.
A buy-in. That's right.
A buy-in.
And when I go to pick it up, I will pay out of the Trolls Cache.
Oh,
that would be cool.
That would be interesting.
Get some of my coins back.
No, none for you. None for you. I may be going boots on the ground is all I'm going to say.
Dun, dun, dun.
I thought it would be gone by now, and now that it's not, I may be going boots on the ground. And actually, might be going boots on the ground.
I don't know yet. We'll see.
All I can say is I want to make a joke here. I just said I can't make the joke. So
right.
Okay, right. I'll get you later. There's
a couple things I could say, but I'm not going to, Dan. So I'm going to let it go. People take it the wrong way, probably.
So comment on this video, everybody, and we will pick up on this. When are we going live again? When you guys going to go Monday?
He's going live tomorrow.
Tomorrow, actually. So if you want to do it tomorrow, we can.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So comment on this video right here.
Yep, this video right here.
Okay.
So it'll be quick. It'll be
comment picker.
Yeah, it'll be quick, but pay attention. Gotta pay attention.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Okay, so really quick,
on this video.
Really quick, I wanted to say, Packer Jack asked, what was it like to listen to Bill Mitchell, the guy who sat across from Cooper? He was a sophomore in college. He is the most nice, just here it is kind of guy. He would look over. He said, I looked over and I wondered why the stewardess was sitting with this old guy when I was a sophomore in college and thought I was all that. He was so down to earth. He was so nice. And, the pilot's daughter, both of them had just a disconnection with the rest of the Vortex because they weren't in the Vortex. So it was really interesting to listen to the details. But he said things like, the FBI kept showing me pictures and I didn't remember. The only thing he could remember is the gobbled neck, the turkey neck. That's the only thing, because he had a profile picture. He's like, you could be sitting in this room and I wouldn't know it. So, I mean, it's really interesting to hear.
So if DB Cooper jumped and he died, don't you think somebody would have said, hey, my uncle, my dad, my brother, my
disappeared?
They did a huge investigation to find missing persons, anybody that had a car that stopped paying payments at that time, a mortgage that stopped paying payments at that time. The FBI did a huge investigation, and that's why they strongly believe DB survived it and folded right back into his life because of exactly what you say. No missing persons. What if he was just a loner and he had to stop paying rent on his property? He had to. Now, did he already tie all that up and he was on his way to Mexico? Maybe.
Can I touch on it? There's people commenting right now. Don't comment in live chat. You have to comment after Mike cuts the stream.
So comment on the video. Don't comment in the chat. Comment on the video when we're done live. You can comment. Yep. And then tomorrow, we'll have Dan on and we'll do the comment picker. We'll fight.
All right. So go ahead, K-Pro. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. No. So it was really interesting to listen to all facets. It's kind of like coming into the chase, like Jack 8 years in and tried to sift through all the like there was a panel of 7 different people that had loved ones that told them that they were DB Cooper. All 7 of them couldn't be right. So I'm kind of getting into Jack mode. If you can't prove it, it's discounted until you can prove it, kind of thing. So I'm taking this like I'm learning from Jack on that piece. So yeah. So it says, are you all kidding? K-Pro, you're not curious about Fenn's bells. No, I'm not. I don't know when I said that. What I said was, do you think there's a $200,000 treasure chest at the end of the hunt? And somebody said, well, what about bells or jars? That would be interesting, but the book says there's a $200,000 treasure hunt. That was the basis of my question. Of course, bells and jars specifically, that would have more of the story. I think there's a bigger story here. Forrest said that in our interview in November of 19. I think DB Cooper could be that level. That makes sense. That kind of story makes sense of, and maybe it was Skippy or Chauncey or Donnie or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Forrest could have pulled this off himself. It's very likely that Skippy and Donnie could have been involved.
Can I make two
buddies? So, go ahead.
Yeah.
Two clarifying statements. One, it's not a $200,000 treasure chest. The book says it's a $200,000 proxy item, which is a certificate, not buried, located at a spot. And there are 7 clues within the book that will lead you to that spot where you then retrieve the certificate and bring it back or send it to a PO box or something like that. And then you get $200,000.
Right.
So, Alan, do you think the certificate is still there? Is that what you're going to go look for?
Exactly.
You might not get the money, but it'd be awesome to find the certificate.
Yeah. And Ben's thinking maybe there's Forrest jars or bells there. That's a fun thought too. I'm just thinking about the book having 7 clues leading to a spot, and there might be a certificate there. Whether the certificate is valid anymore or it's expired or whoever created
if you find the certificate, wear gloves and have that sucker dusted for fingerprints. Maybe there's somebody's fingerprints on it.
And it can't just be a certificate, with dirt shoveled over it. I mean, it's got to be in something.
Envelope or Tupperware or something.
So that's what I'm looking for. Bet, whether Force is related or not, that book was created with 7 clues in it, copywritten in 1978, published in 83. The reason why there's this whole question about whether it's null and void is because some people, I think this year or last year, that somehow found a copy of this book, got a letter with their copy of the book. Mine did not come with this letter. That said, hi, I'm the ex-fiance of the person that wrote this book. This treasure hunt is now null and void. We have since learned that she didn't even meet the author until after the book was written. So she has no say in whether or not the treasure hunt is null and void, in my opinion. So the reason why I'm 50-50 on it is because there's too much weird stuff going on. Who knows who wrote the book? There's no name behind it. There's no entity behind it. I mean, publicly. So that's where I'm a coin toss on it.
And think about this with the chase. How many times did we have Forrest Fenn emails that weren't really his emails? He said this, secret recordings of that. We have those types of shenanigans already with this book. There's a woman that says that it's null and void, but who is she? And she's not in the book. Is she looking for it? And maybe, I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot. Again, show me the evidence. Show me the evidence where she says, is there a will that said I was the writer of, and we can have it. And like, I hate to say what people are saying and not, these books are out there. And now that there's just so much more to this that I'm not going to discount or take as gospel unless I see some evidence.
And then the other credibility I have without having evidence is just the book itself. This isn't like a website that went up promising 200 grand and they're asking for credit card numbers. This was a 328 published book, which has an editor on LinkedIn, has an illustrator that's on LinkedIn. It's foil embossed, the cover. We don't know how many copies were made. I've heard so many different numbers. I'm not even going to mention one of them. But the copies have been popping out since 1983. So it seems like it's too much work just to say, aha, fooled you. There isn't really anything there. It seems like too much. So that's just my hunch.
And you have a location, somebody asked. They know you're not going to say where, but you have a location you want to go to?
Yeah, we do. And
there it is, everybody. Breaking news. Well, record it. At least film it. Whether it's there or not. When you get to the spot, record it. Be like, or there's a note.
Yeah, and it's kind of like reading. It's kind of like reading Thrill of the Chase, where when you're reading the book, you start taking notes like New Mexico, and then Yellowstone, and then Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, and then you pick your spot based on that. So there are a couple places anyone that reads this book might end up somewhere else, but it's going to be the same general vicinity with the flight path in mind.
Dan, show one of the pictures in the book. So what I thought was interesting, there's doodles in the book. Now they're professionally drawn. It's a caricature, but isn't it weird that Forrest Fenn drew pictures of people as a doodle, and there's all these pictures of people in the book, but just weird coincidences.
Yeah, I would love for one of these coincidences to tie exactly like, the illustrator of TTOTC is the illustrator of the DB book. There's so much circumstantial that it makes it hard for me to look away. But I would love
here's a good one. A reference to time. Where have we heard that before? He
threw away when he got out of the military. We'll see.
And Hush Puppies. DB Cooper was wearing loafers.
DB Cooper's wearing loafers, and also Forrest said he'd never wear a suit and tie again. And I know DB Cooper.
And then why leave the tie behind?
That's
you
intentional.
Take everything with you when you leave the tie behind. That was intentional.
You brought the bomb, left the tie.
I don't understand, and I didn't want to interrupt the group at the conference too much. Why did the FBI? So the general consensus was the FBI destroyed the cigarette butts. Why did they destroy the cigarette butts but not the tie? I don't understand that.
I think that I actually thought I heard they lost it, but again, you were there, and that's a Eric Eulis type question to ask.
And Eric is the one, because someone said the FBI was incompetent and lost it, and he's like, no, I think they intentionally because the case is closed, they intentionally destroyed it.
Oh, more recently they destroyed it. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. There was controversy. I could tell. It's interesting. It would be kind of like if we were all together. You could tell the people that were, it's absolutely Yellowstone. There's no way it's New Mexico. You could tell some of the discussions, like the parachutes. Did the person, which parachute did they choose and why? That was a point of contention. So there is not consensus in the group in relation to some of the mystery pieces. Exactly. So the community is like ours.
Hey, Ben, so much for our 10 minutes.
I know. All right.
I was like, they're still live. Okay, I'll hop back on since I'm just chilling at the grocery store by the car.
Nice. Yeah, so, I think there's at least a mystery to discuss here. And the one is DB Cooper finding the rest of the Vortex out. And then this Ha 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 book. Those are going to be the two that I think are going to be fun to explore, especially if you have the book.
One of my favorite, I think we could do an entire show on scrapbooks and how they relate, but 107 screams DB Cooper to me. That's the one where it says at the top, get gas. Then there's the silverware, which I don't understand, but it's talking about being meticulous. Then it's the envelope that says Florence with the bent $5 bill. And then the cops surrounded his car, and then he says, it's not like I robbed a bank or something. That's all in one scrapbook, and that's a lot of stuff to be in one. And again, Florence on the envelope matches Florence, the flight attendant that he handed the note to, that he was hijacking the plane. So it's just stuff like that's fun to me. It doesn't prove anything, but that's just one example of one scrapbook. And I think there's a lot more. I think Forrest sprinkled things just the way that I feel. Yeah.
Capro, how many books did that store have that you bought your book from?
One.
Oh, well, good job.
But I did.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you said that there were tons of copies. That's where I was confused.
So there's a little bit of an update to that. So 3D had gone to PAL, all the big one, big bookstores. I went to all the little outskirts, and then there was 2 places that said they couldn't. One I couldn't reach, and the other one's like, I don't look through books. You can come in. And the guy was a jerk. There was this huge, like stuff was piled everywhere. And I said, where do I start? He goes, bookstore. You have 5 minutes. I was like, yeah, I'm out of here. So I left.
Wow.
I went to this other one, and the lady I talked to said, I can get more. So I took the one. I said, is there any more in these 4 walls? And she said, no, but I'm a part of this network. Here's my email. Email me. I can get more. So at the time, that's when I said, let's get more so people don't get price gouged and get it out to the community. Well, I've been email corresponding, and she's like, this is the only one I've been able to find. I'm like, I know. I'm like, can you get any more? And she has contact out of somebody, she says, that might have several copies. But she's like, at this point, I didn't think it'd be this difficult. And
Okay.
I'm like, I know.
They're going to start going up in price. I mean,
Right.
Yep. I mean, I was just on the Donna Ariel Store Tavern, and like their last post is just about, we're closing down, and all the comments were like, hey, where's that book? Where's that book? How do we get that book? I can't find the book. And they're like 40, 60 weeks old. Like,
right.
So that it confused me when you said there's a lot of copies. One, I thought you meant there's like a table at CooperCon with like stacks of this book.
I would have grabbed them all out.
And that's what I was thinking. I'm like, get me at least 3,
Right.
one for each hand.
Well, I think it's kind of like me at the beginning. I feel like I can get anything, especially through the university and all of that. There was only one in the university system, and I'm going to be able to check that back in. That's how I was getting my book. Now I found this one, but it was just by luck, and it was just. But when she said I can get lots more, and I was like, great, how many? And she's like, well, how many would I said, I'll take 20 just to get it out to do what you did and just get it out to everybody. But that changed quickly when she did some actual investigation.
That reminded me, I wanted to say something, and I couldn't earlier. When you said, I'm spearheading this, I think maybe the recent critical mass could have been because of me and getting books in people's hands. But someone in the community, I don't know if they're in chat, and I don't want to say their first name, but they said they've had the book for like almost 7 years, and they've actually proved it to me, and I've read it like 500 times. And this whole time they thought there was a Forrest Fenn connection to it. So I might be the first that started like this recent fire, but I'm not the first to like try to even put this together for sure.
Yeah, Mary Green is asking, is it under copyright? There is some discussion about who owns the copyright. More than one is claiming to own the copyright. Let's just say it that way. And Alan, I think you bring up a good point. I know it's important to some to say, I said this topic first. I could care less about that. So if someone wants that piece, great. The one for me is, how does it catch on to the masses? And I think that's what you did. Is I know you sent some books to various people. Some are really excited and reading it. Some are selling them off and saying, I'm not really interested. You were the one that I think has brought this where it catches. It's the right time. You did it in the right way. I remember you messaged me maybe a month or 2 ago in the middle of the night, and it's like, so you have no comment about the DB Cooper and the stuff? And I was like, you didn't send me anything. What are you talking about? And you were like, what? And then you started giving me all this stuff, and I was like, probably 6 months before that, I would have probably just gone, no. But it was the right timing. You deliver it in the right way. You are not into the drama pieces. You are into, here's the information. Like me, don't like me. This is my opinion. You deliver it well. You are I think you were the right person. For me, I won't say spearheading like you are making this your cause. You are communicating, and you've built bridges and relationships in the right way. And that has helped you get it out. Whether whoever the right person is to say, you said it first, you're it. Helen
is the chosen one.
Cool. Well, thank you. And like, I want people like Mike to read it too. Like Ben reads it, and he has all these different concepts and things that I never saw. Mike's already looking at the bolded words. Like, I looked at the words, I never wrote them down. Mm-hmm. Like, Ben's already done that, so that's cool too to see.
Yeah, and I think it's going to take some internet sleuthing to figure out the affiliations, who does own the copyright. These businesses are out of town, the printing shop's out of town, the person died that actually had the first set of books, another person saying they have sets of books.
One thing, the people that have searched for this treasure, we don't know that there were ever, look at our group when we have a Zoom, how fast hunts get cracked.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true, isn't it, Copper Dan?
I believe yours went faster than mine. So
one of them did. We got a new one coming out. We'll see. We'll have a contest who lasts longer. Yours current one or the one we're going to do in the future.
But Copper Dan, this is the greatest point. His might have gotten solved in a day, but when a hunt gets solved within an hour, it's called the Copper Dan hunt. Like you have the affiliation, whether you were the first or the last.
That's okay.
You're famous.
You got Copper Dan. That's all. It's all right.
I got Copper Dan.
It's in the lexicon. That's all. Nah, we love you, Copper Dan. So remember, everybody, comment on the video. Thumbs up the video. So I think this is a new time, a good time, because we have 0 thumbs down, everybody. It might be a first in the history. But one change. From now on, all the shows we do, all the live shows are going to be at 6 p.m. We're going to go an hour earlier than normal for our East Coast friends. Some people have always said it's too late over here because you guys go 18 hours. So Packer Jack. 6 p.m. So we're going to go live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Brand new treasure hunt is going to be on. 12 Days of Christmas. Copper Dan's going to be on to give away a book. And who knows what else we'll have. And then also me and K-Pro are going to have a new puzzle. And we'll have details on that soon. Go ahead, read it.
The copyright is a one-horse land and cattle company.
Yeah, right.
I was going to say it was made by Brenda Pro right before she went into witness protection. If you guys don't watch all the hate stuff, you have to.
I got that. I got that joke.
Bye.
All right, guys.
Bye, K-Pro Cal LLC. Okay, guys.
Boogie.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
Ready to wrap up and take
6
off.
o'clock tomorrow, Dan.
This will be the first step in looking at the new rabbit hole, if you will. So we're definitely going to keep you up to date on anything happening with the Forrest Fenn hunt, the sale of the treasure chest. I believe that is happening. I might have misspoke earlier. I thought it was in Cynthia's. Maybe that will be what we discuss next Monday, but definitely going to be discussing DB Cooper. There are 2 documentaries to watch. One of them's on a YouTube and one of them's on either I believe it's Netflix. I'll put those in the discussion later or the description later because I'm just looking at facts and there's so much out there, but it's usually, I believe my uncle is DB Cooper. I believe my dad was DB Cooper. I believe whoever, and it's not based on the facts. So I wanted just the facts. I found 2 resources. I'll make sure to put those in there. And we may be doing a 9 Mile Hole panel on just what do we think of that, the aftermath of closure for some. But I'll put that out later. And last,
that's presenting a lot of closure for me and Alan, but we'll get into that after we go with something else.
The last thing is, it was so important.
Oh,
I know. World Series of Fenn. Some of you, I've been talking with quite a few of you over the last few weeks about whether you wanted to come with some things that were happening in the community and things. Mike and I have talked extensively. I'm going to do a video just so I don't have to repeat it to so many people. I talked a lot with people on the phone, email, back and forth, messages. Mike and I made some determinations on World Series of Fenn. It's still on. Everything's going according to plan, but I will just kind of put to rest some of the requests and questions that I've had. But it'll be a very short video and I will try to get it out this weekend.
So World Series of Fenn is on. Everybody's welcome. We're going to have fun. There will be no drama. Hooli asked, but K-Pro, what about the sale of the chest? I don't think there's been any news. That's why we haven't talked about it, right?
I need to go back and watch Cynthia's video. I swear she put it in there as a update. We talked about it with the Shiloh discussion. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So when we have information, we'll definitely go live and talk about it. When we have definite information, everybody can say, "Oh, it's going to be sold soon." Well, if we have any concrete details, we will definitely go live and share them.
Right.
Okay, guys. Well, it's been fun. I'm going to have fun, especially because I don't think you could stop Ben talking about ha ha ha. So I think it's going to be fun to see the different channels talk about it in different ways. I want to focus a little bit more on DB Cooper because I think I know you guys are going to focus more on the ha ha ha, and I think it'll all come together. So I think it'll be fun to take it from different vantage points, just like we did in the chase.
For sure.
Okay, well, thanks, guys. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving and hug your loved ones and stay safe. And Ben, extra hugs to all your family that you're hanging out with.
Thank you.
Likewise. Take care.
Appreciate
Bye,
it,
guys.
guys.
See y'all.
See ya.
All right, everybody. We are going to go live tomorrow. Brand new treasure hunt. Copper Dan will be on. I'll talk K-Pro and coming back on. We'll do some fun stuff. And yeah, but that's tomorrow's show is in place of Thanksgiving. We're not going to do Beacon Star Thursdays because it is Thanksgiving, but we are going to go live tomorrow instead. So tune in. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Tune in tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Make sure you thumbs up. We got 26 and no dislikes. I guess they really like the new time. The new time we went live. 6 p.m. Remember, 6 p.m. from now on, if not earlier. So there it is. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. I'm definitely going to make some storage auction videos because I got to sell this stuff. Somebody may be interested out there. So look for those videos as well. All right. Say bye, K-Pro.
Bye, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
See ya.